up, Goat World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I am back at you with another Goat Format video. The Goat Format World Championship has concluded, and with me today, I have an extremely special treat. What if I told you that there was a Yu-Gi-Oh dueling team that kind of went crazy in this Goat Format World Championship? And no, it's not Rampage. Oh, absolutely, it's not Overdose. It's one of the newest and most potent Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling teams in our current game right now. With me today, I have three of your top 8 performers from the same team. I would like to introduce you all to the Ultra Instinct Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling Team top world performers. I have with me Shaggy Powers, Bobby Bodega, aka Bobby Buckets, aka Senior Zalug, and I also have AJ Hussein. Gentlemen, please. First, I want to say congratulations for your amazing performance. Okay. And I want to say I'm so glad that I get to know you and be around you on a personal level because if you didn't know, I am also a member of this fine establishment. So first and foremost, I would like to throw it to my captain, my captain, Mr. Shaggy Powers. Take a little bit of time to introduce yourself, introduce the rest of your squad. We're going to throw this thing around in a circle so we can talk about ourselves before we kick it over to these deck lists and to your tournament performances.
Yeah, so if you don't already know, my name is Shaggy Powers. I am the founder and captain of the Ultra Instinct Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling team. With me today, we have Mr. Bobby Buckets and AJ Hussein. All three of us are on the same team, and all three of us got top 8 at the World Championships. I got 4th, AJ Hussein got 5th, Bobby got 6th. This is a really cool thing. I don't know that this has ever happened in a World Championship before. So I guess I'll just kind of like give you a little brief history about who I am and what UI is and what it means to have Ultra Instincts. I kind of came to this format a couple years ago, pre-COVID, and then during COVID. I felt like I couldn't find my footing in the format. Like I didn't really have many friends or people to test with or get deck ideas from. So I would kind of come and go very often. And I was really bad. I was like really, really bad at goats. When I first started playing, I actually had to play on Edo Pro because I didn't know rulings or priority or nothing. So I basically had to play on an auto sim so I could even learn how stuff works. Essentially, I couldn't get anyone to play with me. I knew I wasn't going to get on a team and I wanted to get better. So, you know what? This guy is pretty cool, fun. He's testing with me. Let's just start a team. And so I decided to make Ultra Instinct, and thankfully I've had a lot of wonderful people decide to join us along the way. And basically in a year's time, because Ultra Instinct will be a year old, like 2 days after Thanksgiving this year, I went from one of, if not the worst player in that to getting top 4 at the World Championships. Yeah, so having a nice testing circle and people that believe in you and want to help you get better is something that anyone can have, and I hope that this is an inspiring thing for people because I never believed I would make worlds. I never even thought that was possible. I just thought I would play and be a motivator and help these
Yep,
other people get there, but I am this is if anyone thinks they can't do it, like just take a good look at me and believe that you can, because
absolutely.
anything is possible if you set your mind to it.
I love it,
So
man. I love it. I love it. What about you? What about you, AJH, man? I know you've had some success in the past. I know you've had you stood in the winner's circle a few times, so you're no stranger to having these types of successes. Tell me about yourself again for the folks that don't know. I did do an interview after AJH won the Goat Grand Prix in the UK. I will go ahead and link that in the description as well. But again, for the folks who save them some time, just please reintroduce yourself and how you got back into the Goat format.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm AJH. My name on Discord and Doodle Book's exactly the same, so I'm always open to discussion, meta talk, playing games, testing, always around for it. I'll probably be playing Chaos Turbo because it's the deck I'm best known for. Yeah, I won the Go Grand Prix in London in March of this year,
Mm,
so about 6 months ago. It was my first in-person Goat event in probably 9 years.
mm,
I got back into goats online during COVID, like everyone else. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively up until like 2013, so it was kind of Dragon Rooter Ravine format. In 2012, I was the Irish national champion with Dino Rabbit, and then I went traveling and kind of sold up all my collection. One of those moments where I'm kind of done with the game. I've got other things to do, but no one ever truly quits. Yu-Gi-Oh player for life is a
absolutely.
quote a lot of my friends use.
Mm.
So whenever I got back into the game in 2019, 2020, whenever I played goats with my old testing circle, I used to think goat format was just goat control. We were very young whenever we played, and all we did was play like scapegoat metamorphosis, like Jinzo, Air Parshath deck. Like that's what we thought goats was, and like so I can master the mirror match in that way. So I actually joined Discord like two and a half years ago, but much like today, I have no idea how it works. I just kind of like I ask people to tag me in things, and like if something's coming up, I'm like, oh, cool. So I was actually playing on ladder, and I played against two of our teammates, Indoors and Mobius. I played against Indoors playing Burn, and you can ask, he can very much attest this. I didn't realize how Secret Barrel worked. I tried to chain cards and take less damage, and it apparently doesn't work that way. And then I played against Moby, and after I think I beat him on ladder, and then he DM'd me afterwards and said, "Oh, you're actually quite good. I was wondering if you're part of Discord. We have a team." And then he must have spoken to Shaggy about me, and then there was a whole. Then Shaggy and I had a conversation over the phone, like he does with everyone before they join the team. We have a very long phone call, which is great because you get to know someone on a personal level rather than just sort of a very superficial online level. I really loved the way the team dynamic worked and the culture that was built around it. I'm very much like a culture type of person. It doesn't matter if the team is quote unquote the best, but if the fundamentals are strong, we can make something great. And it just seemed amazing. I didn't really have an online presence, but I thought I was quite good at the game, and so it all sort of snowballed. Then I got the official invite and joined UI, and I think it must have been a month or 2 months afterwards, and the Goat Grand Prix came around, and went down. Didn't have much test and didn't think much of it, and then I ended up taking first place. I don't have as much time to play as I would like to. I would love to play a lot more. Worlds came around, and again, didn't think much of it. Didn't know what was going to happen, and then made day two, and then eventually lost to my captain
Oh,
in
Captain Mike.
in top six.
Team kill,
And
man. Team kill for the top. That's huge, man.
the fact we didn't have to have a team kill until the top six is
That's
insane.
that's
Like
pretty
we
that's
came
pretty
in,
impressive. That's pretty impressive with
we,
such a presence in there. That I mean, it's very unlikely that that didn't happen, but it's fortunate that it didn't because I'm glad it worked out the way that it did.
it was always going to come around, and I wouldn't have liked to have lost to anyone else. So that's kind of my story. And finished fifth at Worlds, and yeah, Chaos Turbo's my thing.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Okay, we're gonna throw it over to old Bobby Buckets, aka Bobby Bodega. I think that's what he's going by now. Bobby Bodega. He's always gonna be Bobby Buckets in my heart. He's always gonna be Senior Zalug in my heart. We know the vibes. But go ahead, Mr. Buckets. Tell us about your situation, man. You now your story also I love to see, man, because you kind of came in like a dynamo, and I reckon I'm telling you, no one's gonna believe me. But when I saw you play, because you did the commentary thing, and I saw you play, I was like, hold up, this dude is good. Like this dude is good. I've seen a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh games. I've seen a lot of people play, and I'm telling you, he just came on the scene, and he was like a whiz. I was like, this guy is good at this game. Like somebody get this guy in here, and eventually, after a long way around, it ended up working out. But please introduce yourself, Bobby, and let him know. Let him know.
I appreciate that. Yeah, everyone. I'm Bobby Bodega, Bobby Buckets, however you want to call me. I actually played back in the day, but I was super young, so I was like a more of a locals legend, the
Yeah.
Toys R Us Saturday morning tournament kind of guy. I played at my little local shops across Jersey. I ended up winning. I forgot. Sea Caucus had a tournament. It was a hotel, and I did really well at it. And I had got an invite to go to a tournament out of state, and I was young, seventh, eighth grade. My mom's like, absolutely not. Like
Mm,
it's testing. Like you're not doing it. So that kind of just killed my whole vibe. And fast forward to the pandemic. I kind of rediscovered Dueling Book, and I was like, man, like I would really love to just pick up where I left off, but I'm an adult now, right? So
right.
I can travel, I can spend, do what I got to do. So that's where like that fire just came because I was like, man, like I just really want to prove that I could have been a good player back in the day, and I want to prove that now. So I took my lumps on the ladder, like AJ Hussein said. Like I was just getting crushed on the ladder. I didn't know that you can discard Thunder Dragon to failed
Yeah.
to find. I was like, oh, I was beefing with people in the chat. Like, you can't do that. What are you crazy? So long story short, I learned the meta, and these guys could tell you, I'm tagging the channel every day. Let's play, let's get reps, let's
Mm-hmm.
play, let's play. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? I'm If I put my mind to something, I just try to connect to it. So I was like, man, my goal for my first season dueling online is to make a team. This is right before War League started, and Shaggy came over with Macer, Planchy at the time, and they were like, we don't really have our rosters are at capacity, but here's this tournament. You can showcase, see what we got. And we bubbled that tournament.
That
We
was cool.
lost.
Yeah, that was cool.
We
Bubble
lost.
bucket.
We almost topped that event. We lost to Alvarado. Perovic was on
P
that,
and yada yada.
Yeah.
and yada yada. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
we lost.
happened. War League started. Kind of we did an internal tournament because at the time it was 5G1K and the Cornmen. We had a bunch of people on the team, and we were like, man, we could only play 5, so we can either have a 5 and run an internal to see who starts, or we can just split into 2. We split into 2, so Cornman went their way, 5G1K went our way. And I had told Kuru, I said, like, if I know there's no real algorithm to figure out the ABC to see who pairs up with the best player, but I was like,
Right.
if you see a trend where a best player is in letter C, letter B, put me there. Like, I don't care if I finish 0-10 in the season, put me there.
That's
I
what's
want to
up.
play them. I want to get better. So I ended up having a pretty decent War League. Went 7-3 in the 10 games that I played. And
That's damn
then
good. Yeah.
yeah, but in between then, I bubbled Patreon playoffs. I bubbled the GFC 18. I finished 9th there. So I was like, man, like I'm gonna all this effort without an invite.
Was
So
that was the bubble buckets phase. That was their bubble buckets.
yeah,
That's what they're
yeah.
called.
I
Yeah, I
don't know
remember
who
that.
put that on Format Library, but shout out to them. It made me laugh because I was incredibly frustrated with that match. And shout out to Duck Duck Goose because I bubbled to him. Alvarado beat me bad in losers bracket, but on the winner's side, Goose, uh, I had the game won, and I got so excited. I messed up on the positioning of my Chaos Monster. He top decked fodder and banished my Chaos, and I lost. I was like, man, that's how it ends. And the off season came. I came up to Shaggy. He had posted something about UI recruiting. I reached out and said, hey, like if there's space on your roster, I'm interested in joining. And we did the 3v3 and we got our world's invite, and it was an awesome feeling. It was us two, and shout out to Night Moves as well. I had to actually play him for the bubble, for the top of the worlds. It was kind of just came full circle. But it's been quite a ride my first season. I'm happy where I am. I'm happy that I can put my name in the hat when we talk about players who accomplish something in this game. So that was my goal, and I'm happy to be
And
here,
you
man.
did, and you did. I'm like I said before, man. I am so insanely proud of what you guys were able to accomplish, man, and what you have put together. I love it, man. I love your guys' stories. I think they're all legit. But let's shift over. We got to talk about this tournament. I can sit here and talk UI all day. I almost forgot that we were recording. This is actually a video that's gonna have to go onto the internet. But we can talk UI. Let's shift it back over to the event. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the deck profile. Since Bobby says you were just going, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna talk about your deck. So right now, let me see if let me go ahead and pop. We're gonna go and pull up the deck. So here is the decks. Like Shaggy mentioned before, Bobby came in
Yes.
top 6. So this was 6. This is the 6th place finishing warrior deck. Go ahead and tell us about this deck. Tell us about what the warrior strategy means to you, and tell us about some of the tech choices you made. I mean, it's pretty standard warrior deck. I mean, it's pretty clean. It's all about the operator. It's all about how you use it. I love the deck. You know what I'm saying? You know me. I like some warriors. But just tell us about this deck. Tell us about some of the choices you made, some of the cards that you think crushed it for you, some of the stuff you wouldn't use again, and how it performed for you in this event.
Yeah, so Warriors was actually the deck that I played back when I was living my local Legends days in Toys R Us. So I pulled Marauding Captain out of a pack, and I was like, this has got to be the sickest card. So I always ran with it. The deck itself really liked Lucas's build. I think he topped with it an event or two before. The only thing, and I was really uncomfortable with the triple shoot because I had took it to I played New York City locals, and it's a pretty competitive local, so I took the shoots there. It performed when it did, but man, it bricked. So I was like, man, I just want to find a consistent card. So it's Lucas's build, just minus the one shoot, and I added in the single copy of Book of Moon.
Okay.
and it was the superstar of the weekend in the main deck.
Yeah.
Aside from the usual characters like Kaiku and Blade Knight and Dashu, Book of Moon saved me to not have to use a Solemn, right, on a Battle Trap, not have to use a Solemn on a Snatch, not have to use a Solemn um, for things that Book of Moon can just cover. And it came in handy a lot too. And Warrior players will know, like, when you set 4 or 5 in your back row and that annoying breaker comes down and you don't have a ring set, and it's like, man, like, do I gamble the 20% that he snipes my Solemn? But no, I have Book of Moon, so I can preserve it. I don't have to slam a 4,000 light point breaker
Yeah.
or waste something or gamble. So the one addition of Book of Moon was awesome. Everything else is pretty much standard. The triple shoot was triple tornado, excuse me, was super consistent. Toyed around with some ratios with Zing Zang Hu, 2 Zing Zangs, 1 Zing Zang, 2 dust, 1 dust, no dust. It was 3 was just very consistent. Going first, it's awesome because you can pick off a scapegoat, you can pick off a battle trap, um, and you're very prepared for Panda Burn game 1. So the triple
Nice.
tornadoes was very, very good. I think the monsters at 14 was good. The side deck is kind of where things went a little crazy.
Yeah.
I originally, up until the night before, and I'm talking about we were testing 2 a.m., 3 a.m. my time. The
Yeah.
tournament was, we had a meeting, we had all this fun stuff, preparation. So I had Morphine Jar in that slot. And shout out to Gia, shout out to Indoors, because they were just like, man, just try Faith. Try Faith, see how it works. And Faith, wow. Like it shouldered so much of the load just to recycle Rota, recycle Pot, recycle whatever, I needed. It was awesome in those matches. Magic Cylinder was the card that got me in the game against Night Moves. There was a scenario, if I remember correctly, where he was in 50 something life points. I cylindered his tribe. I had a snatch and a monster, so
Hmm.
yeah, I had a snatch and I was drawing into a card that was the monster. So the cylinders made the snatch plus the monster I had on the board live already. So I had game from the cylinder without drawing the card. And it also, I believe he had ring down as well. I have to recheck, but cylinder was clutch. It came in handy in aggro. Um, to my pain, to the pain that I might say, like if I had to make a switch, day 2, I bumped into 3 goat control players,
Oof.
and as a warrior player, it was a gauntlet. I played Geist D in what seemed to be like a 50-minute chess match. It was an awesome match. Lost that one. Played Leo Huncho, who beat me. He was actually my round 1 opponent. Um, Day 1, he beat me in 15 minutes, so I had to play him day 2, squeaked by, and then I had to play the homie Insidious. So if I had to make a switch, I think I have to swap the assailant out and put like maybe a third tiger or a priest to just combat those goats, man.
And that,
Because
that
it was
hurts, man. I know that's your guy too, man. That's your guy,
yeah,
dude.
it's my homie.
And
Yeah.
you gotta catch your guy, man. But I do, Bobby. I love the deck. I think it's real clean. I think it's real smooth. It seems like you seem like you got it dialed in correctly to the event that you just happened to run into because you had your shoots, you had your dust tornadoes, you had the Book of Moon. A lot of people cut Book of Moon thinking Control was dead, and guess what? Control showed up in a major way, and then people who had Book of Moon kind of prevailed a little bit. So I love it, man. I love it. All right. This is dope. This is dope. Tell me what you guys think about it. What do you think about Bobby's Warrior deck, and what do you think about his performance? I think that's pretty cool. We're gonna shift it over to the number 5. Number 5, we have AJ Hussein coming in with the Chaos Turbo deck. You know what I'm saying? And I think this was pretty clean too. Go ahead, AJ. Tell me about this deck. Tell me about Turbo, man. Tell me what Turbo means to you as well. You said you play a lot of Turbo. What's so special about the Turbo strategy that you enjoy the most? And why'd you construct this deck this way for this particular event?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, I want to give a few shout outs as I go along.
Of course.
So firstly, to Dumb Copy. Dumb
Mm.
Copy is one of the players. Whenever I first started playing goats, I paired up against him on ladder. I think in like my second week, and this guy annihilated me. I was he was a completely different league, and I was like, this dude is like insane. I got to play against him twice in Worlds, once in Swiss and once in Top Cut. He's one of the turbo players I really look up to. He's also just a really solid guy, super friendly. Uh, I have a lot to learn from him. We discussed in private the deck afterwards, his list, my list. I think he's really good for the game. Indoors, I want to give a shout out to as well. This guy on UI is always up for testing, always has
Mm.
advice, super solid. It doesn't matter what deck it is, will always give a very rounded opinion on a lot of things. Forced me to switch out, as I'll get onto, the Zombire of the Dark for two Berserk Gorillas,
Mm.
and the monkey see, monkey do was a big guy throughout the event. Super like such a great switch. Um, and also JD, like because we're here, I want to shout out you as well for your commentary throughout the
Oh
weekend.
man, stop, dude, stop,
Um,
stop.
I
It's
love
my
it.
pleasure. It's my honor. It's my honor. It's beyond a pleasure. It's
I
an
mean,
honor.
we're here. I want to give you a shout out too as well. Like
Much love,
having the
AJ.
ability to talk for an entire day about sometimes there's not a whole lot going on is a rare skill. But yeah,
Thanks.
about the deck Chaos Turbo. Whenever I first got back into goats, I really wanted to build a deck that played slightly unfair. And it just seemed really consistent during looking at everything throughout the format. I thought like back in the day whenever I played, Chaos Sorcerer was always like at least a +1. I play a numbers game whenever I play goats. I always say, well, this card can get me X advantage, this can get me a +1, this can get me a +1, and if I have more things to do than my opponent does, then I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win that game. Other than variants like a BLS ring snatch. Um, I on the build up to Worlds, I didn't have a lot of time to test, so I would come home from work. I work quite long hours in their very early hours of the morning. I would come home and I'd play like one or two games on ladder. And the deck that I had built was just the deck that I tested with. There was very few changes made to the main deck specifically. The biggest cards that I want to give shoutouts to are Trap Dust Shoot.
Mm.
Man, this card like overperformed during Worlds. It was insane. I don't understand why it was ever taken. Now looking at it, I don't understand why it was ever out of the main deck. But you look back 6 months ago, and Warriors were super prevalent, so you would
Right,
never
that
main
had a
Trap
bit
Dust
something to do with it.
because so like it'd be so irrelevant in that matchup. But with so many more people playing Turbo on ladder, which is my experience from playing, I know a lot of competitive players, tournament players, don't play ladder very much because it's not good testing. But it's essentially my only testing because I don't get to play weekends. I don't get to play GFCs, FLCs, Patreons because I'm never around during the weekend. So ladder is my testing, and theory is a lot of my craft as well. The one jar of greed was only because I didn't have time to test anything else in its slot. It's always it's an extra card. It reduces my deck count. I find it super relevant as well in some matchups where there was one game, I think it was round four in Swiss, where I drew Pot of Greed off Jar of Greed. And not to say that's a good sample size for anything, but at that point it was super relevant. I thought Chaos Turbo was going to be the most represented deck. Chaos Turbo Warrior, I think it seems everyone else.
Hmm.
And in those matchups, it's super relevant to advance my game state versus someone who's not playing Jar of Greed and might be playing Solemns. In the side deck, Jinzo was the man of the hour. Jinzo overperformed in every way, shape, and form, and I have to give AJT BLS this from his lists. Jinzo Call the Haunted. Don't at me. This was the side deck choice.
Okay.
In a very simplified game state, it's so difficult to out because a lot of decks like meta decks play a lot of traps, whether it's 5, 6, 7, 12 sometimes, and there was a few matchups where I just slammed Jinzo and into three back row and they had nothing. It was just game.
And do something. Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with this android on you? You can't do anything. You just gotta take
Oh,
it, dude.
it's just done.
He gets solo
Uh,
warriors by himself too a lot of time.
oh, 100%. Like if there's no snatch, if Exile Force is gone, if Premature Burial's gone, like it's just game. The only thing I was worried about is bringing it in against Shaggy because he plays 3 smashing round. Like, bro, enough with the smashing round. Like, let me resolve Jinzo and just win the game. Throughout the event, I played a lot of Turbo. I lost to Don't Copy in round 4. I lost to Ryan Spicer and Warrior Turbo in round 5. I made notes on everything, so a lot of the game threes I went to, a lot of my opponents drew Pot of Greed on turn 1, so I
That's
really didn't enjoy.
that's the life, man. That's the game. That's the game. That's part of it.
It is. It's always the game, but I made notes to see which games I won whenever my opponent opened Charity and against Purple Drunk. He opened Graceful Charity Thunder Dragon. I won that game. Game 3, he opened Pot of Greed. Yeah, so Chaos Turbo is just the deck that I felt most comfortable with. and would provide the best result going deep in the tournament. My interviews on goatformat.com, along with everyone else,
Mm.
I give a pretty in-depth review of everything that I picked. I want to give. I'll go back to Bobby as well about Book of Moon. I think I looking back 3, 4, 5 months ago, where people cut Book of Moon from the main deck complete or from their list completely. I think this card is just insane as well. It's so relevant, and even more so now moving forward. I've actually updated my list and I side decked an extra copy against all the control decks that are happening against Royal Decree, which I played in round 6 or 7, round 6. Um, and then my side deck, which is where a lot of my work went into. I sided pretty heavily for burn because the last thing I wanted to do was lose my world run to burn deck ever. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people is the last like that and Reasoning Gate. So I sided Karibo for a Reasoning Gate because you can search it off Sangan. If they like blowback dragon your set Sangan, you can search Karibo. Double Mystic Walk because playing timed rounds was which was a big thing because I'm pretty sure online events they're always like double elimination, so you don't play a lot of timed events.
Right.
Being a very in-person competitive player, we always play timed events, obviously, because the venue only has a certain amount of time we can stay open to. Also, like actual Konami events are always timed. So Mystic Walk was good for time. Not that I think I never went to time. I always try to get my opponents to play a bit faster. I naturally play fast because all my decisions are. I try and play chess and make my decisions in advance. So if my opponents are ever playing slowly, I like to try and advance the game state further. And it's like, can you speed up? Would you mind playing a little bit faster? I know these decisions take a little bit of time, but please, like, actually make a play. Siding Jinzo and Mobius. If I would go back, I would take Mobius out for sure. Jinzo did more than enough. Triple Sakaretsu was good against the Warrior decks that I played. Call the Hunted and Jinzo was just insane. King Tiger won me so many games. I would actually go back. I think I would side an extra copy of King Tiger.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's cool. That's kind of a trend that's kind of catching on too. Bringing in the Earth monsters in the turbo deck. I mean, I thought that was throw off the ratios a little bit for your light and dark situation. I don't know if a lot of people tended to not do that, but I mean, it's catching on. I think it's trending. King Tiger is better than Ashura.
It certainly is one of the reasons I didn't want to side Zombire the Dark, or I did want to side Zombire the Dark because it's a dark monster. But whenever you go deep against really competitive players, the ratios in the long run, because you generally tend to play a longer game unless one person opens broken, which does happen, but doesn't happen as often as not opening broken in terms of percentages. So I'd rather have a card with a bigger impact going longer in an event with a higher skill cap. Obviously, with hindsight, knowing that goat decks did so well, obviously I would want to side an extra King Tiger, but Mobius is the more obvious choice between that and Jinzo. But Jinzo just has a bigger impact.
Way huger upside, and it can't be souped either. That's another benefit of Jinzo opposed to more monarchs.
It can be good, but it's irrelevant.
Yeah, you can't run it
You
like
can turn it face down, but you're wasting a normal summon unless you have Nobin across it, you don't out it,
right.
Or you have to put the face down and then Regeki break it or Wing Blast it.
But like I said, if they're in that simplified game state and they top deck the Souk over a Mobius, that just hurts. But Jinzo is just like, come at me, bro.
Just turn me face down, it's fine. I'll turn on all my traps. I thought, as you said, I thought my list was pretty clean. I was lucky that I main deck trapped out shoot because there was so much turbo and I played pretty much all turbo throughout the event. Phoenix Wing Windblast versus Regeki Break, which was a big point of contention for a while as well. I think this event proved that Phoenix Windblast, for this event anyway, in this space, was definitely the optimal choice.
I think that's 100%. I think that's confirmed. I think that's confirmed. The turbo players that decided to main deck the Dust Shoots and main deck the Wing Blast performed better than the players that opted to main deck the Solemn Judgments and the Regeki Breaks. It's just clear. So I think for this event, this type of turbo was just superior, and the science backs that up, and the numbers as well. But I love the deck, AJ. Tell me what you guys think about this turbo deck. As always, all these links will be in the description. I know I say that sometimes, forget to put them down there, but just make sure you let me know if they're not down there. They will be in the description so you guys can have these for your dueling and viewing pleasure. But last and most certainly not least, old captain, my captain, here he is with the Earth aggro strategy. The two players entered with this deck One player made it to the top of the event, and one of those people is in this right now. I have Shaggy Powers playing the Earth aggro strategy. Shaggy, please, please, please tell me about this deck, man. Tell me, this deck is so fitting to you and your personality, in my opinion. You know, very rough, very tumble, very go after it, get him kind of situation. It motivates me every time I see you play this deck. Please, please tell me about this deck.
It's funny. I think it magically just so happened that I gravitated towards this deck, and I think you're right. I think it does like resemble a lot of me as a person. It's a very Florida man deck, so I think that's just why I'm naturally so good with it. But yeah, this deck is really cool. I took it to the GGP in Connecticut, and I was actually between playing this and Cold Wave Monarchs for the event, but I was really like pushed towards this deck specifically because I got my invite with Bobby on Warriors, was doing really good with an aggro based strategy, but there was something about this deck that I felt like I needed to experience it for myself, and I actually didn't test at all. So I took this deck to GGP Connecticut. I played it in the cash tournament on Friday. I got second place, and I got top 8 in the GGP on Saturday, and that's when I realized this deck was really good because, like I said, I didn't really have much time to test it. So that essentially was my testing, and I realized this deck is very underexplored. And then through theorying with the team prior to Worlds about what we thought the meta would be and what people were going to be playing, especially going based off of what I saw my teammates were going to bring, main decking for Turbo, and Warrior main decking for Turbo. I and the team felt this deck was it wasn't just a really good deck for me to play because it fits my play style, but it was a very good like meta call for what we thought the tournament would be. Because if Turbo's maining for Turbo and they're maining Mind Control, they're maining Trap Dust Shoot, just cards that are not that good versus this deck. And then if Warriors maining the Dust Shoots and they already have the Nobleman of Crossouts in there, I'm going to steal a lot of game ones. And that's essentially what this deck did all day. I won of my game ones, and I went 5-2 in Swiss. My only losses were to John Wick round 1 on Turbo, who he is one of the best players in this format, extremely talented player. He actually tricked me really bad. In game 1, he got me really good, summoning and exiled, so I didn't summon Gigantes, thinking it was Spy, and it was actually Sangan, and I just lost from there because the guy is so good. And then I lost to Don't Copy in the last round on Turbo. So the deck is really good. I guess I can talk a little bit about the ratios. Gigantes is like the guy in the deck. You want to slam him like all the time, attack into stuff. You can crash him and kill their attack row. He's like a heavy storm with legs. Goblin Attack Force was an MVP all day. If they have a face-up Spy or a Sorkin defense, you can kill it. Or if they have nothing on the field, it's essentially a 2300 burn card. And then Assailant banishes everything. Really good card. Giant Rat was ridiculous all day, crashing it into a Decoichi to get Injection Fairy Lily. Or in my match against Lucas, I actually crashed it into a Donzalug to get a Kinetic Soldier and attack over a Sasuke. So it was so good the whole day. And then obviously Injection Fairy Lily, I think it single-handedly won me like 5 games. It won both my games versus Ace in Top Cut. I think I will jam it in every deck from this point forward. It was that good. Triple Smashing Ground, just 1 for 1 answers everything. Triple Dust Tornado, Bobby says, it destroys burn game 1. It's just a really good card. And then it was the same exact main deck I took to the GGP. The only difference was the side. I decided to side Dark Dust Spirit, which never came up versus Burner Control, but in testing was really good. And then I decided to side 1 Berserk Gorilla for Haikus versus Warrior. And then second Mystic Swordsman level 2. And then I cut down from 3 Dust Shoot to 2 for the single Sakuratsu armor, just to give my Warrior matchup just a little bit better. But I went 3-0 versus Warrior on the day. I went 3-2 versus Chaos Turbo. I think in major tournaments I'm 7-4 versus Chaos Turbo with the deck. And then I lost in Top Cut. I lost to Dingo round 1 in a very close game. couple different sequencing of drawing certain cards, and maybe I win. I got him down to 150 life points in game three, and just couldn't draw the cards I needed to beat him. And then I lost to Insidious in top four, a very good control player. I think I could have played a little better, but nothing to take away from him. He's very, very good. And yeah, that was my tournament experience. Obviously, I'm going to shout out UI. Wouldn't be here without each and every single one of you. You all have helped me so much. Like I said, I would have never believed that I'd ever be in this, gone to Worlds and getting top four. And then to everyone else that believes in me, you know who you are. I don't have to shout you out. Everyone that actually has believed in me this whole time, like, I appreciate you and I love you and I'm grateful. And yeah, just shout out Ultra Instinct, best team, best environment, best family.
Hey man, that's a you know what, Shaggy? That's a dope way. That's a dope way, man. I had some stuff I was gonna say, but I'm not even gonna add nothing to the end of that, man. 'Cause that was very well said, very well spoken, man. Very well cool. But tell me what you guys think about this deck as well. And as Shaggy mentioned, he's still in the lab, putting in the hours to increase the validity of this deck even more. And this deck has room. So, and I stated this in the power ranking video that I did. I've also stated this in the top 16 when I talked about these decks. Check both of those videos out. This deck has an extremely high ceiling. There's other places that this deck can go. This is only the beginning. Shaggy has kind of, and Roanoke before him, and other players who played the strategy before him have kind of laid the foundation and the groundwork of what can work in this format with this deck. But the sky's the limit with the potential that this deck can have. So if you're looking, if you like to tinker, if you like to experiment, and you like to try different strategies, I would recommend the Earth aggro strategy as something that you can dabble with and try out because it can work. And clearly it has, because Shaggy has a top 4 worlds performance with this very same deck.
If I can interject,
of course.
The very few ladder games that I've played since Worlds, like post Worlds, I have played against Injection Fairy Lily in 50% of those games, and I am sick of seeing that. it just deals so much damage so fast, and as Shaggy, as much as I love you, like, I will never forgive you for spearhead this card, and I'm done with it already.
Okay.
Earth needed to save the format.
AJH, any shout outs you want to give before we wrap this thing up, fellas, and roll it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to shout out Trap Dot Shoot to start with.
Okay.
For sure. I want to go back to Don't Copy. Like, the games I played against him were really friendly. They were super competitive. I want to shout out UI, of course, because you know, fourth, fifth, and sixth of Worlds, Jay-Z commentating,
and also indoors could have been in there too if it wasn't for there were some shenanigans that took place. I don't want to delve in the drama, but indoors could have been in that top event. Well, it could have been 4 now, so just keep that in mind. Shout out to indoors, shout out to Gia, shout out to Crash, shout out to Wayfair, shout out to Macer, shout out to you know what I'm saying, shout out to Ron Swanson. Ron Swanson played well too, you know, so it could have went way left if it
Zalug these days.
Oh, Dan Zalug, that's right. I'm sorry, my bad.
Dan Zalug.
These name changes, man.
I also want to shout out Dingo, obviously, for winning. I lost to Dingo like in very swiftly in top 8, and that Chaos Return deck. It just goes to show that whenever you put in any amount of work with any deck, you can perform well with it. It doesn't matter if people think it's meta. It doesn't matter if people think it's competitive. Whatever you play, if you put the matches in, you put the reps in, like Bobby always says, and with the call reps UI, you can make any deck great.
100%.
Also, I think I'm going to speak for everyone here and say I want to shout out goatformat.com for putting on an incredible event with a credible prize pool. Scully, the TK for judging and putting up with everyone's ridiculous line of questioning. And then whenever I want to shout out Ryan Spicer as well. Doesn't play a lot online. I understand why. I get the dynamic, but whenever I was younger and playing this game, what I thought to a competitive level, checking metagame.com, looking at all the SJC coverage or there were Shonen Jumps, there were SJCs at that point. Seeing him winning, net decking his lists, and the fact that anyone can come back to the game and goat format in general and do well is one of the things I really love about this format and why I got back into it as well, because everyone's welcome back. outside of War League, the community is amazing because there's always a lot of trash going on in War League, and I get it why. Like people want to get into people's heads,
Yeah.
but it just goes to show that this is a super inviting community, and people really are just trying to make it better and get more people to play and invite more people in. And even 20 years later, the meta is still ever evolving thanks to Shaggy.
Right on, right on. All right, we're gonna go to Bobby Bodega. What you guys say, man? Any shout outs you want to give before we roll it up and wrap it on up?
Yeah, I have a few. Of course, UI for constantly repping with me, testing out my wacky theories and helping me talk me off a ledge sometimes when I lose in these internals. And these guys will tell you I take it really serious. Like I have to get talking off a ledge sometimes, but definitely UI, definitely GC NYC locals. It's super competitive every week. We got Joey Neutral Grounds, we got Duck Duck Goose, we got Carl Waite, we got WZ, we got Arvin, and I throw myself in there too. So 6 war leaguers in that locals. It's great to test online and test
Mm.
theories, but in person is, as we all know, is a different beast. So I constantly work on like those jitters as well. Shout out to them. Ludo, Nice Boy Rizzo is one of my guys who helped me get to this point as well. Labonte and Moxie's as well. Labonte's kind of been like my warrior mentor as well, so he's helped me a lot as well, and Moxie's, and of course the GGP crew, Insidious Fox, Shag, Jinzo Dude, AJT
The
BLS, Chris
519
Mateo,
boys.
519 guys. Man, I thought I played a lot. These guys play literally all day. They leave the tournament, they get a bottle of wine and a pie of pizza, and we're playing till the wee hours of the morning. So like it's awesome to test versus those guys too. But yeah, big shout out to all of them. They all helped me get here as well. So yeah,
Nice,
thanks
man.
for helping
Nice.
me in.
All right.
Looking for season 2.
Captain, my captain. Any final words before we shut this bad boy off?
I'll do a last couple. Obviously, shout out Ultra Instinct. I'm eternally grateful that this whole thing even started in the first place, and I'm just happy to have you all on the ride with me. I'm gonna shout out Chris Pateo. Uh, he shouted me out in his deck profile from the GGP, and he said some of the nicest things someone has ever said about me in this format and like playing goats, and it carried me into Worlds to do what I did. So, Chris, thank you. You're the man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna shout out Dale Bolito. Dale, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for all the help you've given me, for talking to me on the phone, for everything. You're the man, and I appreciate you. Wow Wink, you're the man. I appreciate you. And just AJTBLS, obviously Adam, you're a good friend of mine, and I appreciate you. But everybody in the community, like I said, if you know who you are, the supporters that I have, I'm grateful because, like I said, I never thought I would ever be here. So
Dope, man.
thank you.
And now you are.
You all can do it too.
Now you are here. You have made it. But I like I said, I love knowing you guys. I love being around this team and learning and getting better myself. You know what I'm saying? I might have to take my commentator hat off and put my dueling hat back on so I can get some achievements and accolades too. It can happen. It can happen. That's too late, but we'll see. We'll see. I think I got what it takes. It's gonna happen. But dudes, thank you guys so much for coming by, man, and spending time with me and doing this. It means a lot, and I'm sure the GOAT world appreciates it as well. Continue on in your dueling journeys, and I'll see you guys around, man. I will see you. This is not gonna end. We gotta do this more. This is like normal. This is normal activity. No big deal. All right, fellas.
I think you're.
Until the next time, I'll see you guys. All right, that was the Ultra Instinct Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling team. Tell me what you think about this video. Tell me what you think about their performances as well. Also, if you are serious about becoming a GOAT format player and getting better and moving on to the more competitive scene, the best way to do it is to find a Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling team to help test with, to help play with. Being on the ladder is great. Playing with people who are like-minded as you, with the same goals as you, is always going to be a benefit to you. So if you're very serious about playing GO format, I would encourage you to check out the GO format War League. Like I said, it's a very hyper competitive environment. So there's a lot of trash talk. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. So just take that with a grain of salt up front. But it's definitely lots of fun to do. So the season will be starting. If you don't have a team, there is a free agent event that is taking place November the 1st. Okay, so you can sign up for that event. It's going to be a Swiss multi-day event. Sign up, get your name out there, get recruited, join a team, and really put in the grind if that's what you want to do, if you're interested in that. If not, I fully understand there's many other ways to play GOAT. But however you want to do it, just do it. But I hope I see you all around. Until then, I'm JDZ. I play GOATs. You should too. Till next time, shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.